Welcome back to the Create Harmony podcast. This is a space where we set an intentional rhythm and we're very focused on savoring life's blessings. We like to use our imagination as a way of listening to God. And if you're seeking stillness and gratitude, this is a place where you can find so much inspiration. And if you love a little creativity, a little lightness, a little playfulness, there's a place for you here as well. So take a moment wherever you are, let yourself arrive, and together we will rediscover peace.
This is episode 167, and I am your host, Sally Burlington.
So last week we talked about what we wanted to grow in this season, and today's episode is a similar idea. We're going to shift that a little bit, look at it from a slightly different angle, and we're going to talk about the fact that you do not have to bloom all at once. So we talked last week about the fact that life is shaped by your rhythms, the things that you go back to, what you return to. It's not those big moments. It's the things that are small that get repeated a million times. Whatever you practice becomes your pattern, and what you repeat is your lived reality. So when you choose your rhythms with intention, then that creates a little bit more space for the things that you want, the things that you cherish and hold dear and are the most important to you. So we are going to focus on that today. Now, we're in the season of spring right here, and we do a lot of talking about what season we're in and focusing on that as we draw inspiration from nature, if you will. So in spring, everything is waking up. We're no longer in the dormant, dry, dull season of winter. We're waking up and we're starting to see things bloom, and the light is a little longer each day, and all around you, things are starting to grow and sprout and whatever. And with that, sometimes when we get into that season of the year, we have a tendency to think, oh gosh, we're going to do all the things. So as we're two or 3 weeks ago, we did an episode called Somatic Spring, and it was all about like the reawakenings that happen in your body. But sometimes what happens is once we feel that reawakening, we want to just go at it. We want to open it up. We want a wide open fire hose, and here we go, life. But today, I want to offer you something a little bit different, a softer way to move through your season. And I want to give you a gentle reminder that you don't have to bloom all at once. That might be the kind of reminder that you need right now. So if we look to nature, as we always like to do, nothing blooms all at once. I mean, all of the plants and the trees are not blooming. It's not like we've designated one day of spring and we say, okay, everything, ta-da, bloom. Not even the most beautiful spring trees do that. Not the most beautiful spring blossoms. There are lots of phases to it. There are buds, and then you get a few more blossoms, and then you get a few more, and then that fullness continues. So it unfolds throughout a whole season. And maybe if you saw your life that way, you might be a little gentler with yourself. If you saw, during the winter, we talked about the fact that it was time for resting and resetting and restoring, and that happened over a whole season, that winter wasn't one long day and then, okay, we're back to full bore producing, that winter was a time of quieting down your life. And the same is true of spring. It's a whole series at our house. It's a series of months that go on that, things get a little warmer and then we go back to cooler, and then things open up and blossoms start to grow, and then maybe we hold a little bit. So think about your life in the same way. If you're trying to grow something, maybe you need to stretch that over a longer period of time. Don't look only at today's task list and feel like, oh gosh, I got to get it done. I got to go. I got to produce. I got to check. Maybe give yourself the grace to just blossom over time. There are parts of your life that might be just beginning to open. There might be a small seed of an idea or a quiet shift in how you think or how you feel. There might be parts of you that, just like when we transition from winter to spring, that are still gathering the energy, still forming underneath the soil. And then there may be parts of you that are already starting to bloom, that are already out there. But that blooming process maybe takes some period of time, some days, some weeks, some months even. And when you feel more steady, when you feel more grounded, you can let it open up a little bit more. And sometimes, for me, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, for me, the hardest part of growth is allowing it to be incomplete, to happen slowly. I want to be ready. I want clarity. I want to see the full picture. I want to plan. But growth really doesn't look like that. I was telling someone, one of the things I listed last week when we were talking about what we wanted to grow, I said that I was growing, or we at Create Harmony are growing some of our infrastructure, some of the ways that we do things. We have a new brand coordinator, and the way that we communicate, the way that we organize, the way we create content is all shifting and changing. And that is awesome. But when that first got started, I was so excited about how it was going that I just wanted to do everything all at once. And I told somebody that it was like confetti-cannon, that I was like, let's just blow all the ideas out there and let's grab them all. And, here we go and do all these great things. And that was not really at all in line with, gentle, peaceful, steady living. And I realized that in my own body, I was just like, ah, and I needed to just bring it down. Take a breath, give myself a chance to bloom over time, and give our Create Harmony a chance to bloom over time. Because that's the way blossoming and growing happens. A half-bloomed life is still a beautiful life. So there's a lot of quiet wisdom in that. There's a lot of quiet wisdom in recognizing that blooming takes a lot of energy from a plant. It takes a lot of resources to get that beautiful bloom. It takes attention, it takes care, and not forcing it is an important part of the process. And you can't bloom. Notice that not every single thing on a plant is a bloom. Sometimes there are stems, there are roots, there are leaves. Everything does not have to bloom all at once. We do not all have to go confetti-cannon of goodness, because then you end up feeling scattered or depleted. You're disconnected from the things that you really want most of. So let's just choose a few small things to tend. Just taking the inspiration from last week. Think about those things that you said. If you listened to last week's episode, I urged you to name 1 to 3 things that you wanted to grow in your life right now. So if you heard that, let's remember those. If you didn't, you can name 1 to 3 things that you want to grow right now. Maybe it's your sense of peace. Maybe it's noticing little good things every day. Maybe it's doing a little bit more reading, or a little more exercise, or sitting outside, getting some sunlight on your face every day. It could be something really, really simple. It can be a steady, simple rhythm, and it's something that you can return to. Because, as we said, whatever you tend to tends to grow. And that's the most important thing here.
Before our closing today, we're going to do a little thought exercise. We're going to do this thought exercise together.
So just take a few moments right now and notice what feels like it's gently opening in your life, what you feel drawn to, what you're returning to that feels alive in a steady and grounding kind of way. And then on the opposite side of that, notice what isn't ready, what still needs some time, what can hold off a little bit. And let yourself be where you are.
Thanks so much for joining us today as we considered how you don't really have to bloom all at once. So I feel like I might have been talking to myself more than anyone else. It was a good reminder to me not to rush things, not to rush growth, but to extend that across a whole season. And hopefully you felt that inspiration as well. We'll be back next week with some more spring content and hope you'll be there too. I want to remind you before we go really quickly about our spring subscription box. Those are still for sale right now. If you're not familiar with what it is, there are guided meditations that are very, very peaceful and just different and unique, not the kind of thing that you hear all the time. It's like actually being in a very peaceful and beautiful environment. There's a link for 5 guided meditations in each box, as well as content that was created or items that were created by Petal and Pink Mental Wellness Boutique. They paired the items with the meditation. So it's like lotion and self-care things, some tea there. There's a little seed planting kit for as a mindfulness exercise. There's a journal that you can write in, all sorts of cozy spring things, a dandelion necklace that goes with the dandelion meditation, just all sorts of treasures that you could find. And if you want to hear more about that, you can go to mycreateharmony.com and find out all you need to know. And until next time, peace.